Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything. But there's so much good.
Welcome to the second season of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And don't forget to catch up on any episodes from season 1 you might have missed. Today we're talking with Michael Riordan, who is the founder and president of the Jennifer Rearden Foundation in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Michael and Jennifer were married for 21 years and have 2 beautiful children. When Jennifer was unexpectedly and tragically taken from the family knew they must keep Jennifer's mantra to always be kind, loving, caring, and sharing alive in the New Mexico community. The Jennifer Rearden Foundation has 4 primary pillars: women's empowerment, childhood education, financial literacy, and community vitality. The mission of the Jennifer Rearden Foundation is to support and create acts of kindness. Please learn more at www.thejenniferreardenfoundation.org. Michael, I'm so excited to talk to you. Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow. My first question that I always ask everybody is, what makes you happy, and why is it so important in your life?
First of all, Sandra, I just want to say thank you for having me, and I love what you're doing. The Celebrate Happiness Roadshow is such a cool concept and idea, and similar to what we're doing with our kindness podcast. So thank you for having me on today. And for me, happiness is, in the dictionary it's a noun, but I think it's a verb. I think happiness is something you actively have to work at and find happiness in one of your senses as much as possible. So for me, happiness is a kind of a journey.
Okay. And I know that you've been on a big journey. I don't think our listeners know all the details. However, in the intro, I did mention that your Jennifer had been tragically taken away and that you are keeping her mantra alive. Would you like to give us a little insight into that?
Yeah. So Jennifer Rearden, my wife of 21 years, was tragically taken from us in an accident. And and when I say us, it's myself and our 2 beautiful children, Avery and Joshua. They were 12 and 10 at the time of her passing. So it's been quite a journey with raising 2 beautiful young children, kind of by myself, but we've kept Jennifer's mantra alive. And her mantra in life was always to be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. And to see how she was able to operate that way in her life and how hard it is to follow that example has been quite a journey. It takes a lot of courage to be kind in spots that kindness isn't the natural reaction. But she showed that it's possible. And so every decision we've made as a family has kept that mantra in mind, and that's how we've kept her alive. And with that, we've also started the Jennifer Rearden Foundation, which is based on keeping the theory to always be kind, loving, caring, sharing in our community. And we do that through 4 pillars that were so near and dear to Jennifer's heart, which was early childhood education, empowerment of women, financial literacy, and kind of community vitality, just making sure we uplift each other and make our community as best as it can be.
could you share what community we're talking about? Is it Albuquerque or all of New Mexico?
Yeah, we're based in Albuquerque, so that's our primary focus, but we've done work throughout the state. And then also, I have a very vibrant board, and one of those being my sister Jan, who's even gotten into our kindness van and done 2 nationwide tours spreading the word of kindness and kind of Jennifer's KLCS. Yeah, so she's an amazing lady, Jan, and has done nationwide tours with it.
Wow, this is fantastic. Because I totally believe it. I follow the Dalai Lama, of course. His whole mission is joy and happiness in life, and he connects kindness with happiness. Kindness is an act, actually. Being kind to other people makes you happy and makes other people happy. So I see them as actually working together. What do you think about that?
I couldn't agree more. Kindness is one of the few things that both parties feel benefit of. Like, so when you're kind to someone, you have a chemical and physical reaction, and the person receiving it has that same type of effect. So it's one of the rare, 2 birds with 1 stone type of mantra that everybody can feel good with kindness, the person giving it and receiving it.
So when you mentioned about Jennifer just did this naturally, and you knew her for a very long time, I would like to just ask, how do you think why did this just come natural to her? Was she just born this way, or did she develop it through some other process, or did it come from some belief system that she had about life, or did she just enjoy life to a great deal, and that just brought on the happiness and kindness and the love?
I wish I knew, Sandra. I wish I could have bottled it up and figured it out. We were high school sweethearts. So when I met her when we were teenagers, she had it already. And as she grew and worked on it and put it into all of her adult aspects of her life, it just grew into this beautiful person that really could react to any negative or harsh situation with kindness and caring and understanding it's bigger than just the moment, and really just working with people and going far out of her way to do things that more than needed to be done to be kind in that situation. And because of that, and even after her passing, just the love that her children and myself have received back from all that she did, never expecting any of it, in the community has just been completely heartwarming. So she was paying forward things that she never thought she was going to, not on purpose, but it was just her way of life. If she walked into a crowded room and there was someone sitting by themselves, that was her goal. She was going to go talk to that person and make sure that they felt comfortable and they wanted to be part of the party. She really couldn't care about the popularity contest of everything or all that. She just wanted to make sure that everyone was comfortable and having a good time and felt heard and respected. And that was, at the end of the day, that's how she could put her head on her pillow at night and make sure that she knew she had had a good day.
I just think that's phenomenal. And I love the concept of everyone felt heard and respected and cared for. Isn't that really what compassion is all about? It sounds to me that somehow, and you just also said that she was this way naturally when you met her, but she worked on it. You said she worked on it. Could you elaborate on that? I mean, did she have a journal? Did she just, after she had children, she used taught her children this gift? Or, because our listeners would need to work on it also, I would imagine. And so any tips that you had would be wonderful.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
And for kindness, again, it takes courage to be kind. So I think you have it. I believe every child is born with it. As humanity and our human beings, we're born with happiness. We're born with kindness, and the world can just wear you down a bit. So working on it is not letting the negative pile up on you to a point where it changes who you are as a person. And and I mean, there's so many sayings about kindness. Treat others as you want to be treated. At the base core of kindness, that really is it. And I believe in my heart of heart, every human being is kind to some percent. But you can't be kind 100% of the time either, unless you're Jennifer or some few other select people that I've met in my life. But so it's having the understanding that they're having a bad day, and just because they're not kind that 10% of the time you've met them doesn't mean they're not a kind person, and doesn't mean they don't deserve your respect and your compassion. So I think we all try to be as kind and loving and caring, sharing as much as possible. A lot of people are better at it where they can do it, 97, 98% of the time, where some of us are. I hope to be 51% is my goal. My goal is actually more than that, but it's very hard to be kind 100% of the time. It takes courage to bolster yourself up to be kind more than you are feeling at the moment sometimes.
Yes. And I love this word courage. You're a guy, obviously, right? And so I just think that word resonates with not only women, but also with men, and men being kind. And you said your goal is to be 51% and even more, but you've used that word courage. And so I'd love to know how you define courage. I mean, we understand that having courage in very stressful situations, and we think of courage in a war situation or rescuing somebody in a flood and all this sort of thing, or having courage to move on when you've had a life-threatening accident, for instance, and so forth. But just everyday life. How does courage come into it?
I think I'm going to preface that with, I think a lot of people take kindness or happiness or joy as kind of a weakness, and where you're not necessarily working hard, or if you're grumpy, then that means you're actually working hard and getting things done. And it almost has where I say it takes courage is because I think when you're showing kindness, or you're showing empathy, or you're showing compassion, it's almost thought of as a weakness, that you're not a hard worker, or you don't care about getting things done, and you just want to be the happy-go-lucky type of person. And I think that's more in a male culture than a female culture. But so that when I say it takes courage to be kind, because I think the courage is that you can act kind without worrying about the perception of the initial act of kindness or the state of your kindness, and that it's okay if someone thinks you're being kind for the wrong reason, or if you're being kind because you don't know any better, because the courage to do it continually is going to prove the type of core person you are. And I guess, because I hear from a lot of people that have met Jennifer, and everyone's like, the first time they meet her, like, this girl can't be this happy, this kind. I mean, it's unfathomable to be, and it shouldn't be this way, but it is. I think you when you meet someone that's acting that happy or that kind to you, immediately you don't think it's real, and you think they have another game plan or another reason to be doing it. And then once you get to know someone, in a case like Jennifer, after weeks or after months or after years of her always being the same person, and the courage to do that, to show up that way to events, that's when you start, actually changing people's heart and making them want to act a better way.
Right. I've often heard the word Pollyanna with respect to myself, right? They say, oh, you're just a Pollyanna.
Right.
You don't understand reality or something of that nature. And, you're absolutely right. If it's not perceived as weakness, it's perceived as something that is unusual, right? Not natural, that kind of thing. Whereas you say you really do think everyone has the ability and also demonstrates kindness, maybe not 100% of the time. And it shouldn't be perceived as weak, whether it's male culture or female culture. I mean, and I want to just have a little moment of time to talk about your whole experience with the Million Acts of Kindness app. I know you have one of those. And how did that come into being?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I was going to talk about that next because the world it can be a very negative place if you want to go out in the world and just see the negative light. If you want to drive around and just see the homeless people, if you want to go see the crime, if you want to see, the politics that are different than yours, it's very easy to become a grumpy and negative person. And the courage of that, again, is for every trip you make out of your home or in your home, you can find as many good things, happy things going on as you can negative things. And when someone's an eternal optimist or Pollyanna, we just want to focus on the good things. And I don't think that's bad. Of course, the bad things have to get addressed, but it doesn't mean you have to do it in a negative context. So as we started, when I worked for the city of Albuquerque under Mayor Berry, he had brought a Million Acts of Kindness campaign from another mayor in California that had done it out of a very negative situation. There was a father who had lost a daughter to an accident, similar to what we had, and when they went into her room, they found a box, and in her box, she had just written kind notes. At the end of the day, she would write something kind about someone in her class, multiple notes, and put them in a box. And so that's how she was holding on to her kindness. So they started an act of kindness campaign where they would use their power poles in their different areas, and they would just hang up happiness and kindness comments around the community, and it started becoming a campaign. And then the mayors talked to other mayors about it. And anyway, we brought it to Albuquerque when I was here, and we had gotten to I think it was in the range of about 200,000 acts of kindness when Mayor Berry's administration ended. So I had known about it, but then when everything happened to us, I thought that fit in perfectly with our mission and our goal for community vitality. And we picked it back up, and we signed on with all of our community partners that came in. We call them ambassadors. So from all of our nonprofits around town. And it's amazing if you want to take a moment and look at the kind acts that happen in Albuquerque every day. It was easy to get to 1 million. We got in there in less than a year by just having the United Ways and the Mandy's Farms and the P&M Resources, just all these huge community partners. And that's the stuff. And I know the news works hard to try to get these good stories out as well. But this is the stuff that happens every day. I mean, just think of your local hospital and what nurses and doctors do. Think of what the police officers, when we see police involved shootings and things like that, but talk about police officers that go into communities and play basketball with a kid and change their perception of what a police officer is, and firefighters and paramedics, what they do every day. The acts of kindness that occur every day in our community is astronomical. And I wish that was the overall umbrella of what we felt as a community, more than, what's going to happen today? Or I had a guy steal my car today. Yeah. And those things happen, and no one should be Pollyanna about it. We should address crime. We should address homelessness. We should address our mental health issues 100%. But that doesn't mean we have to forget about all the great things that happen in our community.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life. An uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email Sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is that becomes a platform. Is there a way that we can actually see or hear or get access to a million acts of kindness through the app? Or is it just a data bank of some sort that you have somewhere?
Yeah, we had a 1-year campaign to get to 1 million acts of kindness. We did it. Then we had Kindness Night at Isotopes Park, where we celebrated kindness in our community, and we had people hold up. I think the most common one is Stand Up to Cancer. If you've seen that campaign where everyone holds up a sign with their parents or loved one's name on I fight for cancer. I fight for this person as a survivor for cancer. Well, we did a similar thing for kindness. I pledge this act of kindness. Anyway, so we had an event at Isotopes Park where we had Kindness Night there and celebrated reaching the milestone of 1 million acts of kindness. So when that happened, we don't log them any longer, but it might be something we could bring back. But right now we're not. It was. I don't want to say it was easy, because it wasn't, to them to be able to log them, and the stories were amazing and they're heartwarming. But it was a campaign to get to 1 million acts of kindness, just to highlight that in our community we can do it. So that is a campaign that has passed.
Well,
doesn't mean all those acts of kindness are still not occurring, but we're just not logging them right now.
Yes. So it's a way of highlighting daily acts of kindness, tiny little things that people do, so that we start focusing on it. I think it's fantastic. And I also want to mention for our listeners the website, which it is in the intro for the platforms and the YouTube channel, etc. But it is the Jennifer Rearden, and you spell Rearden Riordan, and Jennifer with 2 N's, so the Jennifer Rearden Foundation.org, so that people can find out more about what you're doing, and because it's just fascinating. And I don't know, I've done a little research on this, and I haven't found anybody else in any other states in this country that is focusing this way with this much focus on kindness, compassion. And would you talk a little bit about what you did? Because this is how I met you, actually, because I performed a show called the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, which I do live at the Explorer Museum for the adult night, because you had initiated the Science of Kindness in the Explorer Museum in Albuquerque. Could you mention and talk about that for a moment?
Exciting project. What we decided 5 years ago, sitting in my living room with what has become the board for the Jennifer Rearden Foundation, through heartache and through pain and just sadness, when we started first talking about how we could keep Jennifer alive in our community, under the community vitality part, we thought we would do kind of an art piece or a project for each of the kind, loving, caring, and sharing. And we have a 12-foot kindness bear that looks like our Spark Kindness bear out at the Jennifer Rearden Sports Complex. We've got a sharing mural at the Community Foundation in downtown Albuquerque here. We have a loving art piece that's going to be going up at Women's Loveless Hospital this Thanksgiving time. And then we were talking with Explorer about for the kind of the early childhood education piece of our forum, and working with them, because it's such a great organization over there, about what kind of art piece we could do. We were just thinking just a simple art piece. And they had some exhibition space that was opening up. Their exhibitions last between 5 and 7 years typically. And we asked, could we do a kindness exhibit there, just and turn it into an everlasting art piece. And never hesitant, they said, of course, let's meet in a boardroom. We got all of our board. We got their, I call them their Imagineers. It's almost like Disney World over there. It looks like Santa's workshop when you go over to Explora. And we filled a whiteboard that was the size of a large boardroom. So I'd say 30 feet long, 6 feet high whiteboard with every idea of how you could do an exhibit for kindness, from kindness to animals, to kindness for loved ones, to kindness to yourself, anything possible. And that was last year. And then this year, just last month, we unveiled, working with Explora and raising all the funds needed to, out of this community, an exhibit for the science of kindness. And if you look into the world, there doesn't seem to be another one out there. So we believe this is the first of this scale anyway, an exhibit at a science museum is specifically related to kindness.
And I think it should go further. I mean, I'm sure other museums, I actually was there. I talked to the man who was putting those installations. They're interactive installations. And actually for young children to learn how to build a smile and what elements of the face, for instance, are actually used in a smile. It's just not the mouth, it's the cheeks, it's the eyes, it's the eyebrows, etc. And so many different ways that they were building through installations, interactive installations, where the person actually interacts with something, in order to feel compassion and empathy. It's not just a thought. It's not just an idea. It's not thinking about it. It's actually doing something that creates a feeling, and that feeling then lasts a lifetime, really, if you start with a young child. And at the Explora Museum, they've got children who are what? I think they start with toddlers, don't they?
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Right. I mean, you can go in there before you can walk. There's parents pushing their children around in strollers looking at these kindness exhibits right now. So it really is. The exhibit is, I break it up into be kind to yourself. As you walk into this place, you're kind of feeling good about yourself. And then the science of kindness and doing an act of kindness and what the actual chemical reaction in your body is and the benefits of it. And then the power of kindness. So you can see when you do an act of kindness, how that turns into 2 to 4, 4 to 8. There's a couple exhibits out there and they're really cool. The one that you've probably seen it where you put a penny in a press and you can rotate it and it presses out something or brings out something like a token for you to have. There, you do it, but it goes onto the other side of the wall. So someone that doesn't even know what's going on yet, all of a sudden it has a token that has some kind of kind act on it for them. So there's another one. There's a flower that you can hold, and you can light up part of it, but you have to hand it to somebody else, and they have to grab it to light up. So you're giving them a flower, and those can travel throughout the museum, and they can log how many times this flower gets passed from one kid or adult to another. And so it's just the science of kindness, the power of kindness, and I can't stress the courage to be kind and not just be grumpy because you're having a bad day.
Yes. I just think this is a phenomenal approach to life that you have initiated for people to get into and to really begin to change the way they look at their worldview, not only in Albuquerque or in New Mexico, but the world in itself, and whether it's male culture or female culture, to change kindness and loving and caring as real values that are absolutely natural values of human beings. I think a lot of people don't actually think of it from that point of view. They might know that they are loving and kind and happy and genuine and joyful, but somehow, as you say, I think you said a long time back, that the world can really beat you down, right? And so you forget that these are natural to us. So to have something in the world like A Million Acts of Kindness, the app, the actual museum, I just love the concept of the museum and the science of kindness, to have that actually be there to remind us that this is a natural phenomenon of being human. Thank you so much, Michael, for doing it, for doing this.
Well, I appreciate this, Sandra, just because I am an engineer by trade. I'm kind of a logical thinker, a numbers person. Jennifer was the happy, kind, loving, caring person of our relationship, and with the kids and instilling these into them. So it's been an attempted transformation I'm trying to work on. I think most of my life I'm getting there. Driving around in traffic can still get to me a little bit, so I know where my weaknesses are, but I'm trying to get better. And I think that's all you can hope for with people is, I do believe that every child is born a happy, kind human being in their mental state. And we rob that from them a little bit with the pressures of society. And some of them are, there should be some pressures to perform and do well in education and sports. And that can be hard. It doesn't mean that kindness is easy. But we shouldn't steal those emotions of being a good person and a happy person from them to make them perform. And it's going to be an ever-ending battle in our maturity as human beings, I think.
Just can only say yes to your last statement. Is there anything else that you would like to say as we come to the end of our podcast?
Only that I sincerely appreciate that you do these, Sandra, and having us on your show has been wonderful to talk about kindness. You need to do things like this to keep your heart warm so that you can go on to the next day and try to do it again. So you're doing that for me and for our foundation, so I appreciate you having us on here. And it was not easy to get together, and you're very patient and kind to get this scheduled. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you so much to Michael Rearden. A Million Acts of Kindness, that's our goal.
That's right, and please remember to always be kind, loving, caring, and sharing.
Keys to happiness number 8, acknowledge your unhappy moments. Even though a positive attitude is a good thing, no one is happy all the time. If you get some bad news, make a mistake, or feel like you're in a funk, don't try to pretend you're happy.
Acknowledge your unhappy feelings. Let yourself experience it for a moment, then shift your focus toward what made you feel unhappy and what it would take to recover.
Like a deep breathing exercise, a long walk outside, talking it over with someone. Let that moment pass and take care of yourself.
Newsflash, please sign up for your copy of our Keys to Happiness at sandramcknight.com. Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you've enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing with your friends and family. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Michael Rearden, for sharing his happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong.